Did you click on this video with hope to learn a new, superior opening? If yes, then you are in the right place. You are as insane as I was trying to play this fucking dog. Amazing opening. So just relax and allow me to show you the true beauty of GROB opening. Not far away in a small town lived Pippi. Let's name him Johnny. Johnny was a little amateur in the matter of chess. In fact, he sucked at it. No matter what he tried or how hard he struggled, he would always lose. He tried to play real chess, but his knight would always magically disappear. He tried to play King's India and just build the hat, but it would always fall apart anyway. But Johnny wasn't some ordinary frog. He had a dream. He was always a little different. He had that little spark inside him, and I can assure you, a little loose streak was not enough to stop him. And so, he tried again and again and again. He tried endless openings until he stumbled on this one particular opening. The GROB. It sounded stupid at first, but for Johnny, this was it. It was like a little diamond in a coal mine. It was fun, tricky, and most importantly, unpredictable. One thing you can be sure is that no one sane would ever even consider to play this opening or against it. And this one trait alone, the surprise, will be the foundation of Johnny's journey to bounce back from the bottom, hold his fate in his hands, and succeed. But it couldn't be so easy. Life was never easy, at least not for Johnny. Even though he found his golden cow, there was a problem with it. The GROB opening has one single but important downside. Well, in short, it's trash. But only in theory. Let me explain. In a perfect scenario, if Johnny would play this against a perfect player, a genius, or as the best chess computer for now, Stockfish 17, the game would look like this. But back to the reality, Johnny is a decent chess player, but in the bigger picture, he is an amateur at best. And his next opponent won't be Magnus Carlsen with 2800 ELO, more likely it will be some random Andrew with 1000 ELO. And instead of Johnny getting destroyed, it will most likely look like this. I think you get the point by now. So let's see what Johnny is up to after finding his new favorite opening. As we could expect, the first step to play an opening would be to learn how to play it. But Johnny was never really a bookworm, so we will only see the core ideas, or as I like to say it, the juicy part. So the main idea is to play g4, make a fianchetto and attack diagonally on the queen side. Yeah, that's all. I told you it's gonna be short. Okay, now let's see how an average game for Johnny is going to look. We play the GROB, black plays d5, surprisingly even more common than e5, it's 36%, 1/3. Next we play a span, make a fianchetto and try to attack here. Trade some pawns, help out with a queen, but now look closely. This position looks pretty bad, but our opponents are even worse and play e6. At first you may think, well, what will poor Johnny do? This bishop is useless, to say at least. But then he looked again. As you can see, after only 7 moves, Johnny is in a winning position. The only thing it takes to win right now is to just not blunder. So back to Johnny. As you can tell, hopes are high. Look how happy he is, shaking from all the joy inside him. So now let's see how will Johnny's plan play out in reality. Will he achieve his dreams and become a champion? Or will he lose all his enthusiasm and lose again, and give up? Let's see. Game number 1. Johnny luckily gets to play first as white and plays his new favorite move, g4. After that, everything goes by his plan. He puts his bishop, sacrifices his pawn, and attacks the center. Johnny is such a smart frog. Now look closely, because that's where the real fun begins. Black defends with a knight, not knowing that this one single move will be a beginning of his defeat. Johny recalls his training from before and attacks with his queen, double attacking both pawn and the knight. Black knight has no chance but to run away to f6. Queen destroys the pawn and this rook can be called dead as well. At this point the game is in a pretty good position for Johny. It's +4 advantage, so it's almost like being a pawn and a bishop up. But not so fast. It's not the end of the game yet and Johny could still lose the game in some stupid way. So let's look again. But what is it? Yeah, it's time. You just prevented yourself from eternal sadness of not knowing the story of our friend Johny. So make sure to subscribe right now. I will show you even more epic stories like this one. Back to the game. Surprisingly, everything looks fine. Johny doesn't blunder, they both just adjust some pieces and exchange. Now we can see Johny's plan to win. He pushes this pawn bit by bit and tries to make a queen. Black can't obviously let him do that, so he takes it and gives away his bishop. After this, it's only a matter of few moves for Johny to win. Well, Johny won his first game. Congrats! But it's not over yet. He has 2 more games to play and you can be sure they won't be so easy for him like this one. And I can guarantee that you won't expect what will happen next. There could be some things I didn't mention about this opening. Game number 2. You may think that Johny didn't think that through. He didn't consider the most obvious thing. A fact that astonishing 50%, an entire half of his games, will be played as black. Well, let me introduce you to Borg, the second best opening in chess. Why Borg? Well, as you may already figured it out, it's GROB, but in the reverse. It's such a genius idea. Just look at this. Knowing this, after white plays e4, you already know what Johny is about to play. Yeah, you are right, g5. Fun fact, it's even worse than the classic GROB. It is +1.5 pawn for white. Back to the game, Johny plays as before and gets his bishop, but then he plays this. Don't ask me why, I don't have any clue. Yeah, it looks really bad. The only figure black managed to develop is stuck. And the king can't castle anymore, and there is a hole here. Last thing to mention, the entire center is taken by white. Well, to tell the truth, Johny is doomed to say at least. But it's not over yet, the wheel of fortune turns, especially on this level of play. White tries to pressure the king and tries to mate. Unfortunately for white, this move just loses a bishop. As I said before, everything can change. In theory, right now the game is a perfect draw, so surprisingly, Johny has a good fighting chance. Let's see if he's going to waste it. Again. Yeah, maybe Johny is just a little dumb. Remember when I said before that everything could happen? Well, at this point the game is over. This is unplayable for black. The game ends with queen takes c5, mate. Johny lost. Nobody said it would be easy. But it's not where the story ends. The bitterness of defeat was not a foreign taste for him. Johny experienced failure after failure as long as he could remember. A minor setback like this couldn't stop him. He had a drive so strong he would do anything it takes to win. And you can be sure he won't waste a chance like this. The third game will be the final milestone where we will find out how Johny's story ends. Will he make it out and winning glory and fame, achieving his dreams of being a champion, a master at chess, or will he lose in the darkness of his failure and let his fate be forgotten forever? Let's see. Game number 3. Johny likely gets to play white. He plays the GROB. But what is it? Black plays g5? The double GROB? is the last thing Johny expected to play against. This is the ultimate test. Johny, unmoved, plays by his plan. Black copies his moves and plays queen to b6. Johny doesn't let that slip in and plays this. They exchange pawns, while the game slowly, bit by bit, moves into Johny's hands. And then Black plays knight to f6, a big blunder. Black is screwed. After it takes, Johny wins a rook. But it's not the end. Right after only 3 moves, Johny finds another beautiful fork. Just see it for yourself. After losing the rook, Black can't take it anymore. He gets a mental breakdown and Black surrenders. Johny finally won. After so many hours, all spent on mastering his new opening, the unslept nights and the early mornings, countless puzzles that made him go insane. Even while facing failure after failure, he would never give up. And after all that, he made it! Finally, I can say that Johny achieved his dreams and became a true master at chess.